I like to ask a lot of behavioral-based questions, and I think our clients like to ask a lot of behavioral-based questions. And once you've determined whether or not somebody can do the job, the behavioral-based questions are really tell you how that person thinks and how they act and how they would react in certain situations. Like, tell me about a time a supervisor was gone and you had to make a decision. Tell me about a time that you made a mistake. What did you learn from it? What would you do differently next time? Tell me about a time that you had a conflict with a coworker and how did you handle it? And a lot of times I don't think candidates really think through some of their answers to those questions. And oftentimes, if you have trouble maintaining eye contact, if it was a difficult situation, script out answers to those types of questions and simply practice them in front of a mirror. And if you can maintain eye contact with yourself in the mirror, that goes a long way in building your confidence. Another mistake I see candidates make in interviews is that they may share too much information, okay? So you don't want to, if you had a conflict with your supervisor, it's best just to say, hey, my supervisor and I didn't see eye to eye. It was time for me to move on. But oftentimes candidates go on and on and on about the situation, and I think sometimes that harms their chances. A lot of times I think candidates don't really think through some questions that they might be asked. And again, in this day of the internet, you can Google behavioral-based questions and you'll find thousands of questions that people can ask you. And you need to think through those things. Oftentimes I love to ask candidates, what are you most proud of professionally? And you'd be surprised how many times people cannot share something with me. One young lady, I'll never forget this, and I ended up hiring her. She had not been out in the workforce very long, and she said, well, I've only been working, I think she was 6 months at some place. And she said, but you know, in high school, my volleyball team went to the state championships, and that told me a lot about her as a person, about her level of competition. She was very, very proud of that. So when I ask somebody that question, I want something very specific. I don't want something like, well, I'm good at building teams, or I'm great at customer service. Tell me how you're great at customer service. Tell me about a time where you saved a client. Think of specifics that you can share with that prospective interviewer that shows them how you think. In this day and age, we all need problem solvers. We all need people that can solve problems in their job, no matter what position it is. You've got to be a problem solver. So be prepared to answer those types of questions when you go in on the interview.